It's time for another off-script episode, and on the off-script episodes, I like to go through pop culture with you guys. And the reason why I do this is because I learned English a lot through music, songs, TV shows, movies, and I also think that is, if not the best, one of the best ways to improve your English, because you're getting the closest thing to like real life, real conversations, real interactions that you can. And it's also a way to, make like the process more fun, right? Because if you're only going through textbooks, it can be quite boring. I can relate to that. So I always like to bring pop culture to make things a bit more fun. And on the off-script episode of today, we are going to analyze the lyrics from the song called West End Girl by Lily Allen, and it's from her newest album, her newest release. Now I'm a West End girl. And I thought that it was just a nice song to go through. I have the lyrics right here, and we're gonna go through like some nice words that you might incorporate into your vocabulary and start using on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, let's get started. West End Girl by Lily Allen. So she starts the song by saying, "And now we're all here. We've moved to New York. We've found a nice little rental." So rental, what she means by saying rental is that they found a place to rent, right? So when you rent a place, you're paying someone monthly, and that house is not yours, right? So you're renting from someone else. Near a sweet little school. Now I'm looking at houses with 4 or 5 floors, and you found us a brownstone. I thought that explaining a little bit what she meant by brownstone was interesting. So brownstone are the classic like New York, Brooklyn sort of houses that they have little brownstones outside, like brown little bricks. So that's what she means by brownstone. Said, "You want it, it's yours." And this is something interesting because on the last video I made for this channel, I talked about using auxiliary verbs for questions. And in this lyric, she says, "You want it, it's yours." She doesn't use the auxiliary verb here because if we were using the correct form, grammatically correct form here, the question should be, do you want it? I needed that auxiliary verb. Otherwise, this is an affirmation that you only added the intonation at the end to make it a question. You want it. The intonation does a lot here. But the correct way would be, do you want it? But what I also mentioned on that video is that if you want to be informal, you can remove the auxiliary verb here, and that's what she was going for. You want it, it's yours. So in an informal context, it's not wrong, but as I always say, it's important to know the correct way of doing things. Right, so we went ahead. So went ahead, here we have the verb go in the past form, went. So it was the same as saying go ahead, so do it, right? So we went ahead, we did it, and we bought it. They bought the house. Found ourselves a mortgage. This is an interesting word to learn how to pronounce. Mortgage. We completely ignored the T there, so that's a silent T. We just say mortgage, mortgage. Billy Cotton got sorted. That's a designer. All the furniture, another fun word to learn how to pronounce. Furniture, furniture. We have the sort of like a neutral sound, and so we can pronounce the furniture, just like fur, furniture. Ordered. I could never afford this. You were pushing it forward. Another fun word to learn how to pronounce. Forward, forward, forward. Try to separate it, forward, and then put it all together, forward. Made me feel a bit awkward. So the beginning of that word there is awkward, awkward. So you really have to shape your mouth like awkward, so you're able to pronounce that word correctly. Made me feel a bit awkward. I'll walk up to the stoop. So stoop is basically when you go up to the entrance of a house and you have that little step there. That's the stoop before you open the door. And then my phone started ringing, so I answered the call and they were like, hey, you've got the lead in a play. You've got to be back in London for rehearsals. That's another interesting word that a lot of people have a hard time pronouncing it. So rehearsals. So you've got to be back in London for rehearsals in May. And then later that evening you said, how was my day? I said, I got some good news. I got the lead in a play. So lead in a play, what she's trying to say here is that she's going to lead that play. She's going to be like the main character in the play. That's when your demeanor is your attitude, your demeanor. That's when your demeanor, we have the duh, sort of like a neutral sound again, even though it's an E, D, we'll have more of a neutral sound so we can flow through the word. Demeanor started to change. You said that I'd have to audition, and then we have that aw in audition, which is a similar sound of when you pronounce some country names. For example, Austria. I have the aw, Austria, or Australia. And then it's the same sound here, audition. I said you're deranged is another way of saying you're crazy. You're deranged. And I thought that was quite strange. So there's a difference between quite and quiet. Quiet is when you're very silent. You're quiet, very silent. Quite, so that's the difference there in pronunciation. Quiet, I actually pronounce it quiet, and then quite. The other one is shorter, quite. And this is an intensifier. So for example, it would be the same of saying, I thought that was a bit strange. It was strange, I'm just trying to be a little bit more polite. That was quite strange. And I thought that was quite strange. And then she said, so very strange. But I ignored it. When I had and I bought it, got a flight and I boarded. When you go into a plane, you are boarding the plane. I'm on my way. Now I'm in London. I'm on my own. I'm in a hotel room. I'm on my own. And now I'm in London and I'm all alone. I'm in a hotel room and I'm on my own, and now I'm a West End girl. Then she repeats that sentence quite a few times. And one of the most interesting things that I think she does here is adding some sort of like a phone conversation at the end of the song. And then the conversation, of course, it's one-sided because we only hear what she is saying. She says, hi, how are you? I miss you. And then there are a few yes, hus. And she said, I mean is something that natives say a lot. I say it a lot. It's the beginning of a sentence. When you're not 100% sure on how to answer, you can always start with that's a connective, right? I'm not sure. Or, you didn't say that before. It's a way to start a sentence. It's something that makes the sentence feel more natural. It doesn't make me feel great. Well, it's another word that you can put there in beginning of sentences to make it sound more natural. Well, if that's what you need to do, then I guess. Well, and then we have a question that she asks here, following the structure that we talked about on the last video again. How will it work? So she asks the how, and then followed directly by the auxiliary verb, right? How will it, subject, work, main verb. Well, right. It makes me really sad, but no, I'm fine. I want you to be happy. Okay, I'll speak to you later. I love you. Bye. And that's how the song ends. So that was us doing the off-script episode of the day, of the week, of the month. We're doing this monthly. I'll be here every week, and once a month we will go through like some pop culture things. It might be a TV show, it might be music, it'll most likely be music a lot of the times, but I'll try and bring short clips of like TV show episodes and movies as well, so we can discuss that too. If you guys want to watch the lesson that I gave about asking questions and the right structure to ask questions, the link will be down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this video, and also give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Before I go, there will be also a material down below, a link with the lyrics and the words that we talked about, so you guys can read through that as well. And yeah, now's the time. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.